I feel like if this map had come out in either Black Ops 2 or Black Ops 3, people would be talking about how this is potentially one of the best maps of all time. Underrated is defined as something that has not received the merit, recognition, or praise it deserves. We talk about best maps or worst maps of all time, but what about the maps that are slept on by the community at large, for one reason or another? We talked about this a lot on stream, but I figured this was time for a full-length video. In this video, we're going to talk about the top 5 most underrated COD Zombies maps of all time. So in 5th place, I have Ancient Evil. Ancient Evil came along with the dumpster fire that was Black Ops 4. It was a map that was completely out of place, honestly. I feel like many of us wrote this map off before we really even gave it that much of a shot. I like the story, I like the map, I like the aesthetics, I like the gameplay, and I like the Easter egg. I firmly believe that this map is unfairly judged as a whole. Either that or just people haven't really given it that much time and effort to figure out that it's one of the better maps. I feel like if this map had come out in either Black Ops 2 or Black Ops 3, people would be talking about how this is potentially one of the best maps of all time. But since it came out in Black Ops 4, I think it was overlooked by the community. So that leads us into number 4, and in number 4 I have Buried. Really good map. It has a pretty good Easter egg. I like the map aesthetic. While Origins and Mob of the Dead really excelled in spite of the goofy Black Ops 2 game engine and movement system, I feel like Buried was held back just enough to where people either don't have experience with this map or don't really know in depth how great this map actually is. I think this is another map that when we talk about maps being ripe for a remake, I think Buried is right up there and should be considered, because I feel like if you fix some of these game engine and mechanics issues with Buried, then this is potentially one of the greatest maps of all time. That takes us into number 3, and in number 3 I have Shadows of Evil. Shadows of Evil is my number 1 map of all time. That doesn't mean it's not overlooked by the community at large. I think people will mention Mob of the Dead. I think people will mention Origins. I think people will mention DE. But I think when you consider all of the different factors, all of the different pieces of Shadows of Evil, I just think it's easy to overlook it because it's the storyline's different. The characters are not what we're used to. It's not Primus or Ultimus. Kind of started us off in a different direction. It's more of a standalone story. I mean, it fits into it because obviously he gets the summoning key at the end of it, but it's Morgue City. It's characters we don't see again. I don't know if it's overlooked. I just don't know if people really give it the respect that it deserves in terms of overall map rank. So at number 2, I have Gourd Crovey. I think Gourd Crovey is one of those love-hate type things. Laid out well. It is a massive map, but I think as far as large maps go, this is one of those that really nailed a larger map dynamic and really maximized some of those larger areas. I think it made good use of all of the different pieces of the map. I think there's good map balance. The Easter egg for me was a challenge. There's certain maps that are harder for certain people, and Gourd Crovey was just mine solo. But as far as boss fights go, this is one of the best boss fights, if not the best boss fight in the game. But I just don't, when you hear people talk about greatest maps of all time, you don't really hear Gourd Crovey mentioned. And why is that? It's not a DE, it's not a Mob of the Dead, it's not Origins. It is a fantastic map. It just gets overlooked for one reason or another. And I think it's because it's not really set up for high rounds. It's not really a casual Easter egg map. You're not going to get on Gourd Crovey and just decide you're going to do the Easter egg one day. So I think that's one of the reasons that it doesn't get the love that it deserves in terms of overall map rankings. That takes me to my number 1 underrated map, and at number 1 I have Revelations. Feedback that I hear about Revelations is that it's too derivative. It's too derivative of some of these maps. The different pieces of the map, people feel like it is too many pieces from older maps, and it's paying homage to the older maps, and I think it combines them in a way to where I think it's exciting. I don't think it's overly derivative. I think it is derivative, I just don't think it's too derivative. I think it's an exciting concept. I think it's also a really good boss fight. I like the Easter egg. I like the map itself. This is also a massive map, but really captivating setup. I think it does the absolute best it can with a larger map. I think it is a beautiful map. You know, it's not just these different pieces of the maps that we're used to. It is being out in space and you look straight up and it's all of these fantastic graphics. And I just don't think this gets the love that it deserves. It's even me. It's not in my top 5. It's a really great map. I feel like it should get a little bit more love. So drop in the comments what your top 5 underrated maps of all time. And as always, guys, if you're interested in this and future COD Zombies content, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Have a good day, guys.